We will be creating the largest large language models in the world, and there is incredible value there. There is no team in the world that has done it in a permissionless, incentivized, and decentralized regime. No team, ever. When we hit this, the mindshare value for Bittensor will be off the charts. Just watch.
Okay, so this channel is all about making life-changing returns by investing in early-stage technology. The earlier you get into revolutionary technology opportunities, the better the returns. And as you may know, dynamic investing and trading of Bittensor Subnets was very recently launched. We're in like month 2 or 3. And the total market cap of these subnets is around $550 million. It was like 200 million 1 or 2 weeks ago. So it's growing exponentially. So the secret is to capitalize and find the highest quality subnets on the planet because they're very early stage and have very tiny market caps. And so in this video, we're going to dive into what the essentially head of Bittensor thinks are some of the best subnets on the planet. Jake Steeves is one of the key founders of the Open Tensor Foundation, which was created to develop Bittensor. So first, let's see what he has to say about Subnet 3. Templar. In this soundbite, he gives us the pitch for this subnet.
Okay, so look, the pitch looks like this. The thing that separates open source AI from the frontier AI labs is the fact that the frontier AI labs, whether or not it's CCP-backed DeepSeek or $100 billion raise-backed Sam Altman, is that they have way more compute. And as a consequence, they can train foundation models that are the best in the world. Cracking decentralized training is the only way that a dispersed, decentralized group of individuals can pool compute and co-own a model together and overtake these frontier labs. Not only that, but the supercomputer that is the combination of all of these different groups, whether it be miners in China, or individuals in Europe, or open source labs across the globe, that's the only thing that will really reach the scale of AGI-sized models, and it's the only thing that will beat these frontier labs. In fact, we will be creating the largest large language models in the world, and there is incredible value there. There is no team in the world that has done it in a permissionless, incentivized, and decentralized regime. No team, ever. Not News Research, not Prime Intellect, no research labs, not Google, not OpenAI. And the stitching together with incentives is the holy grail of true language model training. When we hit this, the mindshare value for Bittensor will be off the charts. We can also monetize these models. We can leverage this network to train models for frontier labs. We can leverage this network to train models for Bittensor that we can inference on other subnets. And we can train these models so that they can be encrypted and only used by the people that own the token. Just watch.
There he's talking about how important it is to be able to train AI models successfully in a distributed way. And that is exactly what Templar Subnet 3 does. Templar shared this chart, which shows how successful its training has been. The further down it goes, the lower the loss, the more efficient and better the AI model. So in response to this chart, Jake Steeves said, only Bittensor peeps understand how hard incentives are and how crazy it is to corral miners into a smooth and stable loss curve. Incentives are to computer science as fusion reactors are to physics. At first they blow up in your face, and then they click and unlock infinite energy. So he's extremely bullish on this. He's extremely proud of this subnet because it's extremely successful. And so we shared this meme. 2 people watching the model training be successful. So it's really important for the success of Bittensor to have AI models being trained successfully. That's kind of what it's all about. It's a decentralized hive mind of multiple subnets working together to create decentralized intelligence. Absolutely massive. So he's very bullish on this subnet Templar, Subnet 3. If you stake Subnet 3, you can currently earn over 100% a year. This is where it gets very exciting with these subnets. Essentially, we're in year 0 of mining these subnets. It's like being one of the first Bitcoin miners on the planet. Remember how filthy rich the early miners of Bitcoin got because they just were able to stockpile thousands of Bitcoin. Well, those are the types of returns we're talking about. The tokenomics of each subnet is 21 million fixed with high inflation rates early on. This one, over 100% inflation in the current year. Now, obviously that changes based on demand, but that's where we are right now. Absolutely massive for subnet 3. Here's another subnet I'm very excited about because it has a tiny market cap. The smaller the market cap, the more potential explosive upside. It's Subnet 7. So the market cap of Subnet 3 at the recording of this video is like $740 million fully diluted. Currently, it's like 30 million. So let's compare that to Subnet 7, Subvortex. Fully diluted valuation, 21 million. Market cap, $841,000. So way smaller. Again, the smaller and the higher quality, the better the returns, essentially. What does Subvortex do? Focus on incentivizing contributors to run Subtensor, which is Bittensor's blockchain nodes. As far as I'm aware, there's no other subnet that is competing with Subnet 7 to decentralize the blockchain that Bittensor runs on. So it might not be as flashy as training an AI model, but it's really, really, really important. Stabilizing the blockchain. And so the leaders of Bittensor understand how important this subnet is. This is Jake Steeves on Subnet 7. I've been using the Vortex entry points exclusively now. I had a thought that maybe you guys can expand beyond just chain data, but also to higher level metrics about Bittensor, and even a natural language interface on top, making Subvortex the go-to place for everything Bittensor data based. With dynamic now out, OTF entry points are getting seriously pounded, and I think this subnet, Subnet 7, really starts to make sense. As the value of chain information is related to the value movement in the underlying market. I get it now. Nice work. The value of chain information, the value of the underlying blockchain goes up, the more valuable information runs on top of it. So that's what he's talking about. Clearly, he's bullish, this tiny cap subnet. Let's look at what it's yielding currently. If you were to stake it, this one's over 150%. Again, not too shabby. So that's another subnet that he's bullish on. There's over 90 of these. So we're trying to find the ones that he specifically called out. Last but not least, on December 5, 2024, he said this: Voon, who is a developer of the Bittensor ecosystem. Voon is making a proof of work mining subnet very soon. TAO will own Bitcoin. Don't worry. What is that subnet that just launched? Announcing TaoHash, Bittensor Subnet 14. What is TaoHash? The first and leading subnet for decentralizing proof of work mining hash rate, rental, and exchange. Validators receive hash rate in exchange for weights, and miners speculate on hash rate, hash price, and alpha emissions. The initial implementation of TaoHash will focus on Bitcoin mining, but we plan to expand shortly to other proof-of-work projects, Caspa, XMR, Litecoin, etc., and possibly non-proof-of-work in the future. And so what this subnet does is incentivize miners for providing hash rate to the Bittensor ecosystem. So if you were to show up with a massive Bitcoin mining complex wanting to get paid for the hash rate, the computational power you're providing to acquire Bitcoin, you would get paid for that hash rate. Validators would receive the hash rate, and in theory, they would earn the crypto asset. So it's almost like taking hash rate away from these projects because the miners are no longer, I could be wrong about this, but it seems like the miners are no longer going to be competing to earn those tokens. They're going to be competing to earn TAO or the Subnet 14 token. And so again, massive inflation rates right now, still early, huge amount of potential earnings. So if you're a Bitcoin miner, if you're a Caspa miner, you could move that compute onto Bittensor. That's why Jake Steeves is saying TAO will own Bitcoin. Don't worry. So these are three subnets that Jake Steeves is bullish on right now and believes in. Doesn't get better than this. Again, we're in year 0. We're in like month 3 or 4 at the latest. So early stage. There is an insane amount of passive income making potential right now and upside potential. So if you have any questions, reach out to me on Patreon. You can direct message me there. If you don't know how to get set up, but this is one of the most incredible opportunities I've ever seen. And on Patreon, we're already making life-changing returns investing in these assets, especially because the charts of some of these assets, like Subnet 7, are not only paying massive passive income, but they're moving up, right? We missed the big speculative bubble back here when they first launched. Now they're starting to bottom, and these assets are starting to rise. So massive passive income, potentially massive appreciation in price. Not financial advice, but just have to keep you posted on what is going on.